Alright people, so I'm here with another episode of the Ruthless Ranter's weekly news. And this time I'm doing it just a bit differently. As you see, I always post the links to the articles I link to in the description below. So if you click on that, it'll pull up the Google Doc, and on the first page you will see the list of news articles and shit that I have on there. But if you scroll down to the second page, I also post secondary articles that I found interesting throughout the week, or videos that you could take a look at and look forward through yourself. But I will be analyzing 10 news topics today. So the first one we're going to start off with is the Baltimore Sheriff. It was in Baltimore CBS local news. The Baltimore, was talking about the stand down orders given and shit. So, and then I got the YouTube clip where the mayor said, "We gave the rioters space to do their thing." And some people, and then she came out and she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean that, whatever." But then the sheriff comes out and then he talks about how they told him to stand down. So there you go, people. There you go. They're letting the rioters do their thing to stir up shit in this country and to just create, divide and conquer strategy right here. It's totally out in the open. And good job for this Baltimore sheriff too for speaking out on this. I'm sure that the government's not happy with that, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? But no, seriously, good job. For him being upset. It sounds like he was upset about this, I believe. So, and letting the rioters riot is just going to create more rioters because they know then they could get away with it. And they're probably just doing this on purpose again to just stir shit up in America, to divide us by race, etc. So yeah, I wanted to cover that first off because it's just so important to point out just how much these so-called liberals, who are more like communists, how they operate and how corrupted they are. Next article here, I want to talk about ISIS. Now, I made a video, what was it, Tuesday, or I think I posted it Tuesday, where I talked about, ISIS says they have 71 soldiers in 15 states. And I kind of talked a lot about how, Americans have the Second Amendment. We can kick your ass, ISIS. That's nothing. You think you're gonna take over the country, and yeah, right. But I kind of want to talk a little bit more about the significance of this. This is pretty big news because let's face it. We they're claiming they have terrorists inside the country right now. So this could actually become a serious threat. And when you think of terrorism, the government is known, like in 9/11, for doing classic false flag attacks. So you never know what the fuck's going on here. And if an attack does happen, like a major attack happens, you gotta look for if the government was involved. But even if they aren't involved directly in a classic false flag, they've armed these people, they've funded these people, and they've opened the borders for them. So it basically already is a false flag. But this this is a threat. You don't know if this is legit or not, so it's kind of hard to tell. How trained are these soldiers? What are their plans? So it's kind of hard to tell if this actually is like a legitimate threat, something to look out for or not. Then InfoWars did post an article talking about are they targeting gun-free zones because they listed California in there, which is a very fucking gun control area. They also listed some other kind of more strict gun states, so more strict gun control states. So you have to bring up the question: are they targeting places where there aren't many guns? Like in Texas, they fucking got their asses handed to them. Why? Because they're armed in Texas. That's what the Second Amendment is there for, to stop criminals. Number 3, I want to talk about, 1 second here, let me just get a drink. I want to talk about this man in Texas not in Texas, in Baltimore, who was arrested. Now I linked the USA Today story here. It talked about this man's name was Joseph Kent, and basically he was standing in front of the police blockade. He was just basically talking, and they fucking arrested him. And what they did was they pulled a van, or like one of those big ass military vehicles, in front of the TV cameras to try to block the TV cameras from viewing it. And they arrested him and took him. And then, you know, after the truck pulled away, it was nothing there. But you could see with one of the camera angles that they clearly were arresting him and shit. And it appeared this man had done nothing wrong. And I think 2 days after they arrested him, he was let go. So, I mean, what I really think, you know, this guy seems like a peaceful guy. I think he was, I believe I saw he was calling for the ending of violent rioting. I heard he was a pretty well-known guy in the community. So, you know, what I think is a possibility is they arrested this guy, and with the intentions of maybe locking him out because he's not going along with our agenda here of having violence and segregation, and not segregation but just racial divide. He's actually trying to solve the problem. You know, he doesn't want to give the rioters room to riot, you know, or the thugs room to fucking do their shit. So what they did, I think, maybe they arrested him and they figured, oh, you know, we're just going to keep this guy. Nobody's going to know about it. But there was a lot of outcry on it. It was, you know, again, I think InfoWars picked up on it. I think it was on, I don't know if it was on Drudge Report or not. But I mean, you know, it was definitely widely known about this guy. So I think maybe public pressure forced them to release this guy. I don't know, but I just wanted to bring up that story. I thought it was a pretty important story. You know, like, why is this guy being arrested? What was he charged with? What did he do wrong? I didn't see what the fuck he did wrong. And they released him after 2 days, so it doesn't even look like he did anything wrong. You know, again, there's your fucking police at it again. Yeah, they're really protecting and serving from people like this Joseph Kent man. Instead of, you know, arresting this guy, maybe they should go fucking arrest the actual rioters and stop giving them room to riot. Number 4. It was on Yahoo News that the Syrian military is on the verge of collapse. So there you go. I mean, it's the government again arming the so-called Syrian rebels to take out Assad, when actually the moderates, the Free Syrian Army, are actually with ISIS, teamed up with ISIS, or are ISIS. A lot of them are. I mean, that's come out in foreign news. Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Schaefer, retired, said that. I mean, the evidence to show that is, you know, it's a lot of evidence to show that, you know, the moderates are actually ISIS. And yeah, we're arming the fucking moderates to overthrow Assad, the so-called moderates, to overthrow Assad, so then that destabilizes the region, so then ISIS can take over there. I mean, again, I've said this a lot on my channel. Look who we destabilized Iraq, getting rid of Hussein, got rid of Gaddafi. Now we're trying to get rid of Assad. And whenever we topple a secular leader, chaos breaks loose. So I mean, we're just trying to topple secular leaders so ISIS can take over. And there you go, Assad is almost on the verge of collapse. You know, it's just a real shame how corrupt our government is. Number 5, I want to talk about a PSA ad here that came out. I believe it was with AARP, and the girl was fucking, you know, in the ad, the girl seems like she's, you know, I believe she was giving her baby a bath, and there was noise in the background of like a radio playing, and if you turn up the volume, you could actually hear it saying and talking about martial law. I mean, very fucking weird here that that's what they chose as the background noise. You know they wouldn't randomly choose a background noise because, you know, you could have profanity in it or bad words or, you know, stupid shit in there. So you know that they, you know, if you're going to put something like that in the background of an ad, you're going to fucking make sure it's alright to put in. You're going to select it. So obviously, They probably knew what this what the radio in the background was saying. So I mean, it's very just weird how they put it in there. And Paul Joseph Watson from InfoWars made a video about it, and that's what I got linked here. So go watch the video. It's a good video. It really breaks down, what was said. It turns up the volume for you so you could hear it. Kind of just a subliminal message in here. Very fucking weird. Go check it out though. That's very interesting. Number 6. A story from the Business Insider about how experts predict that 1/3 of jobs will be replaced by robots. It's a very dangerous thing right there. Artificial intelligence and robots taking over our jobs. Because I think we live in a world right now where technology is getting advanced, but that same technology can be used to hurt us as well. I mean, I think it's going to be very dangerous when, robots start taking over, or if they take over our jobs, because I mean they're already doing it. I think at McDonald's, where they're using, instead of people, they're using robots. I mean, I don't think that's a good idea to use robots to do every job in America. I think it's the people should be doing a majority of the shit here in this country, and there's always the threat of artificial intelligence, which a lot of people, are warning is very dangerous to our society. So I think that, while technology is a great thing and can be used greatly for benefits, I think we should continue, to actually do work ourselves and work hard ourselves as opposed to robots. Because, I mean, everyone, let cars drive themselves. Well, if cars drive themselves, the government's probably going to get involved in that. So, and then whenever the government gets involved in something, it becomes dangerous or they fuck it up. So, I mean, no, I don't want everything to be run by robots, because that creates, just a world where, where we don't do anything, where we aren't in control. I prefer to be driving the car myself. I prefer to be doing the job myself. And I mean, how is it's like, how are we going to have a fucking economy if robots do everything for it? I mean, I don't know. It's like, just robots aren't a great idea. They're not a good idea, I don't think, for our world. Because, I mean, AI is a very dangerous thing. And, if robots are in control of all the jobs, then again, I don't think there's going to be, it's not going to be good for the economy. Number 7, McDonald's it came out, and I believe it was in a lot of mainstream news sites, but McDonald's is closing 700 stores. Great news here. I've been talking about being healthy for quite a while on this channel, and so has many other people. And because of so many people being healthy, actually worrying about what they put into their bodies, McDonald's their sales have been taking a nosedive, and they are closing 700 stores. This is great fucking news, people. Great fucking news. A big victory. And in this, hopefully it's next year, it's, or next quarter, they close more. This is very exciting, and it just shows how, if we use our money, to say, oh, I'm going to go eat at this restaurant, at this local restaurant, or I'm going to buy from a local farmer, or I'm going to, go to the grocery store and buy organic foods and non-GMO foods. It just shows how much of an impact we can have as a whole in society, and this is the response. 700 stores closed. Great news. Next story here from Yahoo News. Man kills a carjacker. So basically the story was, this law-abiding Second Amendment carrying person saw this girl getting carjacked. So I believe, I read the story. I didn't read it recently though, but I believe he came over and said or something like, hey, stop carjacking her. And then the guy reached for his gun, so then he shot him. Totally justifiable right here, killing. And they were saying, oh, I believe like the police were saying, oh, I don't think he's going to get indicted. They should, no, not think. he should say, I know he's not going to get indicted or questioned. This was not murder, people, from what the story said. If everything in the story is true, this was not fucking murder. This is why, again, why we have a Second Amendment. To protect against criminals, you know? And hopefully this serves as a message to criminals out there. That if you try to do a crime against somebody, you could get your head blown off. And this is what deters crime right here. People with, you know, who carry guns. So let's say in Texas, you know, nobody's going to try to burglarize somebody because they could get killed. As opposed in California or in Britain, you know, if you try to, you know, rob somebody, you probably know that they're not going to have a gun. So you have a great chance of, you know, actually succeeding. So, you know, good. I always love to hear when a law-abiding citizen with a gun prevents a crime, prevents a violent crime, prevents, you know, saves a life. It's always great news to hear that. And it just shows why we have a Second Amendment. Number 9, I want to talk a little bit about this one. The military dogs. Now you might say, oh, you know, military dogs, that's not really a big deal. I just want to touch on it a little bit there. I kind of found it interesting. You know, so apparently, you know, this military dog, it needs treatment for cancer. And the government's not going to pay for it. It doesn't want to pay for it. Now this dog apparently spent 8 years I believe it was, you know, in the military, you know, doing shit or whatever. And it's kind of stupid, you know, how, alright, the dog spent 8 years in the military. It didn't fucking choose, you know, it couldn't choose to be in there, you know, it was forced in there for 8 years. I mean, at least the government could do is fucking, you know, pay for this dog's health care, or at least, you know, help this dog out a little bit. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. You know, like the government, oh, you know, all these soldiers, we're going to take all these soldiers, put them out, you know, into these useless wars for the military-industrial complex, which is horrible enough. But when they come back here, we're just going to spit you out into society and say, oh, thanks for serving, thanks for, you know, Dick Cheney, thanks for giving Halliburton no big contracts in a useless war. Spit them out, you know, and of course the VA scandal happened, you know, and it's denying treatment to veterans, and now they won't treat dogs either. It's just, oh, you know, let's serve, and then after they serve, fuck you. You know, it's just fucking, you know, it's just sad too to see these people, you know, who don't get served. Alright, and the last one, I want to talk about a local story here. So basically in Michigan, the roads are a piece of shit. We're known for having some of the worst roads in the country. So basically there was this new proposal. Here in Michigan, we have a 6% sales tax. There was a proposal to raise the tax to 7% to fund the roads. It got defeated by 80 to 20%. Great news right here. You know, they're, oh, give us more money so we could fix the roads. No, fuck that bullshit. You're already getting enough fucking money. You should be able to fix the roads. But instead, you know, corrupt politicians aren't able to get shit done. So, I mean, you know, just give us more money and we're going to get it done. Oh, yeah, fucking right. And people are waking up to the fact that politicians, you know, aren't going to get shit done. They don't want to pay more taxes. People aren't buying, and there was so much commercials too, saying, "Oh, vote yes on proposal 1 for better roads in Michigan." And it didn't work, people. It didn't fucking work. I heard somebody say, "Why don't they take all this money they're using to advertise? The government's using to advertise to try to get this proposal passed to actually fix the fucking roads." And that's a great point. You know, they must have spent millions of dollars on these ads. Why didn't they put that into the fucking roads? You know, the roads here are fucking horrible. They really are. I mean, I go down the fucking road, and it's like, I'm not even exaggerating. My fucking side streets, you know, I drive, and it's bump, 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 bump after bump. It's fucking horrible. But the answer is not more taxes. It's not more money. It's better politicians, and it's more efficient politicians who actually care for this state, who actually care for the people, and are going to do the best, you know, and are going to do what's in the best interest for our people, not politicians who are only for the special interest or corporate interest or shit like that. We need to elect more people like Ron Paul who are actually for the interests of everybody in this society. So there you go, people. There is your weekly news from the Ruthless Ranter. So there you go, people.